on
Joy of
YouTube.
starting a live stream.
And then you want to
Oh yeah, it's working.
share that link to Facebook?
Facebook's live. My loophole worked.
What'd you do?
I had a loophole. Don't worry about it.
No, I kind of want to know.
All right. So it looks like we are live on both Facebook and YouTube.
Excellent.
So with that being said, do some cleaning and get started. Well, it is Monday morning. Monday, January 18th. And we are hustling.
We are hustling.
We had quite the hustle getting this set up this morning. Technology is a blessing, and we are so fortunate to have this technology and the various things that we're able to utilize to share content, share opinions. But with blessings comes responsibility and learning curves. And so we spent a good probably 20 minutes just now, if not more.
It was definitely more.
But we're here. We're live and well. It is Monday. It is time to hustle, starting the week off strong. Just finished a nice, relaxing weekend, and we are ready to grind. So, Ian, how are you doing today?
Oh, man. I'm doing phenomenal. Monday morning, starting the week strong. I usually am pretty lazy on Monday mornings just because I don't like starting the week. But I like this whole setup we got going here. I like this hustling, starting the week strong. Woke up and got a workout in, ate a breakfast, got in here very early. Got a bunch of things done, got this all set up. And then you got here and then everything didn't work. So that was great. But let me see. What did I do this weekend? Oh, my Packers won. I watched the Packers. They won. That made me really, really happy. Going on to play Tom Brady next week. As much as I don't want to admit it, Tom Brady has had a great season. I didn't expect him to have that good of a season, honestly. That's okay. I still think the Packers are going to win. And then Sunday, watched more football. And cleaned the entire house. So, yeah.
That's a fun time.
Yeah, it was really, really good. It was really good. How was your weekend?
My weekend was great, relaxing. I finished up winter class, so I had a huge presentation I had to make.
I didn't know that.
Saturday night, I made a presentation. It's 22 slides, a lot of research. I had to read a book, lots of fun. And then found out Saturday as I was finishing that up that my other class that I had start in the spring had overlapped this week. So this was the week that started too. So that was fun. It's all good.
Nice.
Start a new class in an old class. Looking forward to the future.
Yeah.
You know, hustling.
Yeah. So I was listening to the episode we did on Friday with Jeff Moulton. And for those of you that didn't watch, Jeff Moulton is the owner of Tappers Arcade Bar in Fountain Square. And I was listening to him as I was working out this morning. What a great episode that was.
It was. It really was.
Like during the conversations when we have them, sometimes I get caught up in thinking of questions, and especially it being the first episode back, I felt a little rusty. I know you had mentioned that too. Like it was not the smoothest interview. I feel like I've had kind of like inspirational and really cool things about his story. I really enjoyed about in his episode. That's kind of a recurring theme. There's kind of a couple things, but how hobbies turn into careers in one way or another. And I just wanted to get, have you also felt like that's like a normal occurrence? Because I feel like a lot of these people that what they're doing is because they just truly enjoy what they do.
So it's convenient that you brought this up. This was the one thing that resonated with me from the entire interview. The hobby question, because I think I was the one that asked the question, like the hobby question.
We've asked it to a couple different guests now, and I've it's kind of a recurring thing.
Yeah, so that was what resonated most with me from this specific interview and his specific story.
Yeah.
Because it seems like the beginning and the root and foundation of this whole venture that he took was rooted in that hobby and his interest in not the video games, but like the pinball and all of that stuff. And so it was really interesting to hear from his perspective that, you can fall too deep into the hobby horse and forget about like the grind and the stuff that you have to get done outside of just enjoying your time doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
So that resonated with me, and especially as I like pursue hobbies and pursue professional ventures, like having that balance and making sure that like I'm not just doing this to have fun. Yes, I'm having fun.
Yeah.
But that's a fruit of the work that I'm doing. So it resonated with me a lot.
And I think one thing particular with that is kind of what we do is because we both really enjoy content creation, and we do it as a hobby. I started a very poor vlog, and you've always been good with videography and doing all those sorts of things. And we kind of started an Instagram photo page for a while, but it is hard sometimes to make the hobby into something productive. Like for me, it's, for example, the Instagram page that I started, when it was just talking about or even my vlog channel that I did for about two or so months, I think. It's a lot of work to have a hobby that doesn't bring in any sort of income.
Definitely.
And it's not sometimes it's like there's no reward except the fact that you're creating something, especially when it's something like that. Like, you're just creating something and it's cool and I love doing it, but it's like I also have a lot of responsibilities at work, and especially with what I'm trying to do now and expanding my real estate realm of business. It's like I just don't have time to make YouTube videos anymore like I want to, and I don't have time to just go out and take pictures of stuff like I want to, when I also have to take them for my personal real estate page, but also the FS Houses page. Trying to what we have been doing is starting up the marketing with our hustle marketing endeavor that we've started. All of it together is a lot.
Yep.
And so, I've really struggled with narrowing down all of my interests, because I'm very passionate about certain things, and I can get passionate about it, but maintaining my passion about one thing and then forgetting about others happens a lot.
I think so. It's interesting you touch on this, because this is something that I've wrestled with a lot in the past, and the idea of and I think this is the thing that stops people with gifts and talents from actually continuing with them, is the reality of you've got to suffer, you've got to sacrifice at least a little bit in the beginning.
For sure.
And I mean, when you first start anything that you're interested or gifted at, there's not a promise that you're going to get return on value for that. Like when we started the Hustle Indie show, or when we wanted to, there was no promise that people were going to watch it, people were going to be interested. There was a sacrifice and kind of a putting ourselves out there in this reality of this is what we want to do, this is what we're gifted at doing, and we're interested in doing this. So we're going to focus on that. We're going to take our energy and put it into making sure that what we're doing is good and getting that done. And again, I think that can be the thing that most people get discouraged by and end up quitting over. Is the reality that I just put all of this hours of work in, and I'm doing this as a hobby, and where's my return? Where's this coming back on? That's just, it can be very discouraging, but I think that's what gets most people quitting. That's the thing that people trip up over.
Which I think it was, after listening to him, that was probably the most impressive part to me, was how he really took this one little passion and he's turned it into his life. And I was like, that's really, really cool. And same thing with Ryan, our boss, being able to do stuff with his paintings and just how he loves doing it. And now all of a sudden he's selling his paintings and doing really well there too. And it's just cool to see people actually out there kind of living that dream of enjoying what you do and working hard enough to actually get there. Yeah,
and I bet if you ask all of them,
yeah,
it didn't start off like this.
Oh, for sure.
There was at least an extended period of time where he was making dozens and dozens of pieces of art just because he enjoyed doing it and got no return on it.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's...
Well, and think about Jeff, too. He had to sell all of his furniture just to store the stuff in his house. And, he had to live with a bunch of roommates. It was not an ideal situation for him at all. And yet, he had to make those sacrifices earlier on. And look at him now. He's doing really well. Even through a pandemic, his business is still there. And, hopefully if all goes well this year, if it gets back going again, he's talking about potentially expanding again in the future. Hard work does pay off.
It does. And I think hard work and patience and just the reality of everything in life requires sacrifice and it just takes time, really. And it's really cool as we're reflecting on this specific episode with Jeff and then all of the ones previously. Everyone has that common characteristic of I mean, honestly, the hustle. Coincidentally, our name's the hustle. But these people, they didn't get caught up in the feelings, the emotions, the passions. Like, yes, those are things that got them interested into it. Yeah. But the feelings and the emotions aren't what got them to get through the tough times. It was the hustle, the grind, the long-term focus, like Casey we talked about in his episode. Yeah. So it's just really cool to look at all of these stories and kind of see that common ground of, yes, they all are happy and passionate about what they're doing, but that excitement, that emotion isn't what's driving them. So, yeah.
And there's a couple I have written down here, a couple points I wanted to hit on. So check that off the box. But I think another interesting point, not only with his episode, but with others again, was the importance of college. And I really want to know your thoughts on this. Because this is kind of a, people always have pretty strong opinions in both ways sometimes. But, he said he went for film. And, again, he said, didn't really use much with it. And I feel like we've heard that a couple times now. What do you think about college? Is it necessary? And, again, this is for those listening, this is coming from two guys that are still only under 25. So, yeah, from our perspective and from your perspective specifically, and I'll tell you my thoughts after, is it important to go to college? Yes or no? Yeah. And what situation is it or is it not?
So I think it's important for me to preface this conversation by saying that I have gone to college and I am pursuing education after college. Right. So understand that, and that kind of filters into what I think about this. Sure. No, I don't think you have to. Yeah. No, and that's an obvious answer. I mean, you'd be dumb if someone said you had to go to college. As far as pursuing careers, if you're wanting something that is a little more polished and requires education, yes, I think college is the obvious answer. Like if you want to get into business management, if you want to get into accounting, if you want to become a doctor, like you don't just do that without getting the education that you need for that. Yeah. And so I think, yes, if you're wanting to do that and you think that in order to get into the career you want, you need to have that education, whether formally like you have to on paper or you genuinely don't feel like you're qualified to step into a position like that and do it well, then yes, college is necessary by all means. And I mean, like for me, for example, like I want to be a pastor. Yeah. And I could very easily just try and go on, like look on Indeed and apply for hundreds of pastor jobs, and I'm sure one of them might hire me. But I don't think I would do a good job doing that. I'm not qualified yet to be a pastor. So like I'm pursuing education, not because I feel like I have to or because it's pushed on me or because it's a requirement to get the job done. I'm not qualified. And in order to be qualified for what you're wanting to do, I think you've got to assess your individual situation. Yeah. So like if you want to get into plumbing, whatever, if you want to get into a trade, like
a trade school,
anything, like it's not necessarily that college is the answer. It's that preparing yourself and educating yourself in order to best perform, that's the answer. And that doesn't necessarily come through college. It doesn't necessarily come through trade school. Like sometimes you have experience like in a family business that is giving you just as much experience as 4 years in college would. Absolutely. And so, I don't agree with the norm that go to high school, graduate, go to college, and then figure it out while you're at college. Yes. You need to be having those conversations with your family, your friends, your loved ones, like considering and thinking about what you want to do in the future and say, okay, if I don't have it figured out right now, like if I have no idea what I want to do, college might not be the answer because it's expensive. I think college is most beneficial for someone who knows what they want to do and is willing to step into it to pursue education for that. Yep. So, I mean, like for me, for example, I changed my major like 4 or 5 times. Yeah. I wanted to be a doctor, my whole life, step into college, and I was like, not for me. Don't want to be a doctor anymore, so switched to physical therapy. Like, I just kept switching, and like that was wasted money, wasted time. Yeah. Honestly, because I stepped into college for the wrong reasons. Yeah. And I mean, could have been more intentional, could have gotten more out of it. Sorry, that was long-winded, but no, I don't think college is necessary. I think education and preparation is necessary. Yeah, no, I agree. And I've talked to so many different people, and my family likes to talk about this too. So my little brother is a junior in high school, so that's kind of the next step is
does he go to college and for what reason and all these things. And it was the same thing when before I was going to college. And my dad has kind of, for a long time now, been on the gap year. He really likes the idea of, if you don't know what you want to do, don't go to college.
Sure.
Go out and work for a year. Go travel if you have the capability to travel for a year. Work a job that you think you might like for a year in that field anyway, or do whatever you can to get that experience outside of college, and instead of having to pay the money, get paid to do it or something like that, which I think is very wise. Because I worked in an academic advising office at school for a couple of years at IUPUI, and I saw too many kids with exploratory majors, or just didn't know what they wanted to do, or were switching majors halfway through college. And I was like, you're spending whatever their specific number, let's say $20,000 a year at least, right? To just try to figure out what you want to do. You really think spending that much money is the best way to do it when you have YouTube out there and Google to search and people to talk to? And like, I do agree. If you don't know what you want to do, spending that much money per year just to figure it out is probably not the answer.
You've also got to consider too, not only are you spending that much money on the cost, but what are you missing earning?
Yes.
I mean, that's time you could be working and figuring it out.
I mean, even if it's minimum wage, that's still just as much. So the opportunity cost there is very high.
Yeah.
But again, that being said, I went through all 3.5, 4 years of college, and I got my marketing degree, and I guess I'm doing some marketing stuff now. But I wanted to go, I'm in real estate firsthand, so I don't really need a degree for that. But I think the biggest thing for me is just the biggest benefit to college, if you're not going for a specific degree, is just the connections you make. Like, in a roundabout way, we would have never met, right?
True.
Like, there are so many connections that you make in college.
I think the connections, yes, that's the main one, but also the experiences.
Yeah.
I think, for someone who didn't have the most mature characteristics and personality coming out of high school, I learned a lot from the experience of, I had to kind of pay for some things. Like, my parents helped me out. I'm very fortunate for that. But, like, being on your own, doing your own laundry, doing your dishes, making yourself dinner every night, like, those are things that, yes, you could get that outside of college. Like, it's dumb for me to say that I got that. You can't get that outside of college.
But in a more, you're getting those experience in a more secure way in college, though. There's less, whatever it is, there are less responsibilities you have in college in the real world.
Yeah.
And if you're able to go through that experience, I agree. The experiences you get and the people you make, in my opinion, are just as valuable, if not more valuable, than the degree you get.
Way more valuable. Yeah.
Unless you're going for like a specific degree, like a nursing degree or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, for me, I got a business degree, and like, honestly, like, it's great. I loved it. I loved IUPUI. I actually think it's a valuable degree. I did learn some things about marketing. That being said, could I have learned everything I learned in school within a year by myself, looking stuff up on YouTube and researching things and talking to people? Probably. But like I said, like, so many connections, so many friends, and if nothing else, that by itself is huge.
Yeah,
so.
I think too, you also have to consider the reality that, like, those people that do choose to do like a gap year or like take time to figure it out, and then they say, oh, I'm gonna get back into it, turns into be like that gap year turns into be like 10, 15, 20, never. You know what?
Yeah.
And it's not that that's detrimental. Like, they could be in a good, well-rounded position, and they're happy and content with whatever they're doing. But it could also be digging them further and further into that hole of like, the longer I wait to go back, and the less satisfied I am with my job, the harder it's going to be to just keep getting back and back and back. So I think that's something you got to consider too. Like,
it's just personal responsibility.
Yeah, exactly.
Discipline. Discipline. If the point of the gap year is just to be like, oh, I need a break, that's probably not the best reason either. So it's just, there's always positives and negatives to both. But no, that is the one point from the episode that I notched onto. I was like, oh, I've heard that before in a couple other interviews we've had, how their college degree meant absolutely nothing to them. You know what I mean?
No, yeah.
And they maybe got connections and experiences from it, but when it came down to the career that they had, that, it really didn't play a huge role in it. All that going to say is, you don't, sometimes in order to start a business, at least from this guy's, from Jeff's point of view, was he liked something and he put in a lot of work and he got it.
Yeah.
And that's kind of all it takes is dedication to what you want to do. And I really like that about kind of his whole story.
Yeah, it was great.
That's a roundabout way to say that I enjoyed his story. Very roundabout way.
So can we check that one off the list of topics to discuss?
Done. Yeah.
What else you got? What else you got?
No, and the only other point I had was, how in your eyes is it for someone out there to go from an idea and an interest they have all the way to success? Because I know that me, you, and our other friend Dylan, we have a lot of ideas, and I personally have a lot of ideas that that'd be so cool if we could do X, Y, or Z. How do you turn those ideas into success practically? And because again, that is a common theme along a lot of the guests we have, is turning something they enjoy doing or an idea they have for a business, and instead of just keeping it an idea or just starting it out and then not pursuing it completely, and turning it into something very successful. And definitely hard work is probably the number one, and sticking to it. But there's a bunch of other things I feel like come into play, and I kind of want to get your thoughts on that.
I think the most important thing, and this ties along to my faith as well. I harp on this so much because it's so lacking in today's society. Fellowship and accountability, man. Not only with faith, but with ventures and disciplines and stuff like that. There are special and gifted people that are just so self-motivated and self-disciplined that they don't need someone to make sure they're doing what they need to do.
Which is a gift in and of itself.
Yes, no, that is few and far between. I don't think that is the norm.
Yeah.
And that's the problem with so many self-help books and stuff like that. Their focus is you figure out the best way to optimize your success and your drive and your this, and it's all about you. And it totally ignores the reality that fellowship and accountability are so valuable and important and almost necessary. I would argue necessary too. And so with tying this into business ventures, entrepreneurship, and ideas specifically, from my personal experience, seeing it in other people, I think accountability and fellowship with people who are less ideas-oriented and more program-oriented. So task-oriented people. So Ryan and Ashley, for example.
Yeah.
Ryan is an ideas guy. No doubt about it. He can walk into a room, look at the room, and think of 100 different ways to make it better.
Yeah.
And so that's amazing. It's a gift. It's a talent. It's not something that everyone is geared like.
Yeah.
Ashley is the task-oriented. Make sure, okay, let's filter through these ideas. Let's see, okay, this one will give me these results. Do
the numbers work too?
Exactly. Yep. And so I think that is one of the most important things in a creative space that we need. I mean, ideas people need that accountability to look over their shoulder, not to micromanage them, but to make sure okay, I know you're an ideas person. Let's make sure. Let's see what these ideas will yield us.
Right.
And so I think that is, again, like you said, there's many different facets that filter into this reality. But I think accountability and fellowship is in my opinion, from experience, seeing and feeling, that's one of the biggest ones. Yeah.
No, I completely agree. It's basically exactly what I think about it too. On a lighter note, Indianapolis this week.
What's going on?
I don't know. Let's look it
up.
Well,
today's Martin Luther King Jr. Day.
It is.
I want to recognize
Today's
that.
Monday, yes.
There are.
Oh man.
Many things to be grateful for from him.
A lot of things to be grateful for.
His ministry, his voice. I think I was watching. So I was working out today, and at the YMCA.
Hey, way to work out, man.
Yep, loved it. Humble brag. But in the locker room, they have TVs.
Yeah.
And they put obviously in the guys' locker room, they have the sports channel on there and all that kind of stuff. But I had just I knew it was Martin Luther King Jr. Day, but didn't really think twice about it. Right. And then they had on, I think it was ESPN, they had a segment about it, and they were talking about it. And it was just really cool to see that, lasting impact that he had on this country and beyond, honestly. So, it's cool to see how one man can make that big of a difference.
And I think that in itself is actually really, really cool, is just how when you believe something, especially when you're, in the right, it helps a lot too. But when you're that passionate about whatever it may be, but if you're, the amount of control that he had, and in those public spaces when he was just getting, it's terrible to even think about that it used to even be like that, when people just hated him just because of his skin color, which is kind of incredible to think about, like how he's able to maintain that calm and be able to just have the wisdom that he had. And there's been a lot of characters like that in the past, but him being one of those most recent voices that has just really transformed society into what we know it as today.
Yep.
And I think we're so blessed to live in a country that, for all the problems that we have and the problems that are still going on, be able to recognize the success that we have and the progress that we have made, and the progress a lot due to this man is definitely important to remember.
I think that's one thing that we can glean and learn from him specifically. Yes, he had his faults. Yeah. Every person does.
Yeah.
But in today's culture, in today's climate, if you offend me, I have no patience. My patience is gone. My character's gone. Like, I am flipping the desk and going crazy. Like, in this very tense, impatient world, I think we can learn a lot from the way that he handled the situation. And he was getting things far worse than a lot of people today are, but responding in a lot more calm-tempered of a way. So I think that's a really cool, unique
that's a great point.
lesson that we can really learn from on him.
Yeah.
And just learn to be patient with people, have grace, have compassion, like seek to have conversations with someone, man. I was just talking to one of my good friends about this the other day. If you disagree with someone, we're in a society now, and I got this from The Social Dilemma, so this isn't me, like the Netflix documentary.
Dilemma. Yes,
we are living in a time where our devices, our media, our friends, like we are pushed more and more into our own little echo chambers that we're surrounded by people that think like us, believe like us, and will enforce our own opinions. Yeah. And that's dangerous. It's really dangerous because it forces you to dehumanize the opposing view.
Yep.
And not only dehumanize, but just totally ignore them and think it's totally okay to treat them however that you want. So, and I was just talking to him about this, like, it is so important for us to be intentional about going outside of our echo chamber.
Agreed.
And the problem is we can't do that on social media. Facebook is designed to feed us information that we like.
You may also like.
Exactly.
This.
Yeah. So our feeds are specifically catered to our personal interests, our desires, our opinions, our beliefs, because it's going to keep us on the platform longer and get Facebook more money from advertisers.
Yeah.
So we have to be intentional to go out of our way to hear from the opposing view and have a conversation with them. Like, not go to burn their house down, not go to riot. Like, no, like, literally seek someone that you know disagrees with you and have a freaking conversation with them.
Yeah. Yep.
And if you can't do that, check your heart, man. Like, check your heart and make sure that you are not dehumanizing someone who thinks differently than you politically.
Yeah, because that's one thing I always harp on is if we weren't allowed to have an opposing viewpoint, we wouldn't have made the progress that we had today. Like, Martin Luther King would not have been like, as much as people tried to shut him down, he still had that freedom to go out and have those speeches out in public. And as people tried to shut it down, but he was still able to do that. And so it kind of translates to today. It's like, you're right. Like, if you disagree with someone, you have to be able to give them a listen, because just because you're offended doesn't mean you're right. And I've heard that quote, and I love it, because a lot of times I'm watching something that's happening or someone's giving their viewpoint, and I'm like, I just don't like that. It doesn't make sense. And at that point in time, I'm like, well, just because I don't like it doesn't mean that they're not right. And so then I go back and I look at it and I try to find, is there data behind what they're saying? What is the, where are they coming from? And what is the backing behind what they're saying? Or is it just words? And we still need to be able to have those critical conversations and the critical analysis of actually like breaking down arguments and trying to figure out, okay, you have an argument and it sounds like a good point, but what is there behind it besides just, how do you feel about it? Because there's a lot of people out there that have really, really important things to say, and we need to be able to hear them, even if sometimes the truth hurts.
This world, this country needs more listeners.
Yeah.
Intentional listeners, not just like sit in the same room with you and I'll let you vent to me. Like, listen. Yeah. Give compassion. Give intention. Like, nod your head.
Yeah.
Like, affirm. Like, let them know that you care about what they feel and think.
Yeah.
And I love the quote. I don't remember where I heard it from. It's not me, not original to me. But seek first to understand before being understood. So instead of approaching a situation trying to make someone understand how you think or feel or believe, seek to understand first. Like, that should be the first thing you have and you carry into any conversation with someone, whether they believe the same as you or not. Just
agreed.
Seek first to understand before being understood. You don't need to force your opinion on someone. You don't need to try and change someone's mind. Like, yes, I agree we should be having those conversations, but approach the situation with a heart of compassion and grace and mercy and just like, let's hear it. I want to hear it. I want to have a conversation, and we need more of that, honestly. Rant over.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. In the news this week, January 20th is Inauguration Day, so
'tis.
So that is something to look at because there's a lot of tension going around in the Capitol. Looks like they've put up a wall and they have security all around there, so that is something to keep an eye on. It's gonna be a crazy week. It's gonna be a crazy week, but we'll get through it. We'll get through it. Let me see. Oh, the other thing I was gonna say. This is totally off topic, and this kind of sounds silly, but you know what my roommate and I were talking about is we've kind of had a pretty mild winter. And I was thinking about it because this time last year, or this time would be 2 years ago, we were getting into like single digits, negative degrees.
Are you talking temperature or snowfall?
Temperature. Both.
Because both this year have been pretty mild.
Because usually
and last year too.
Right.
Last year was cold.
Last year was very cold.
But we didn't get a lot of snow last year. We didn't get a lot of snow this year.
Right. And I don't know, maybe it's just one of those years, but it doesn't look like it to be too cold. This will be like the coldest week we've had, and it's only going to be in the 30s, really. So something to look forward to. I have to drive all day today out in the cold, so that
Let's just check the temperature in my future home.
Oh, your future. Oh, yeah. Little L.A.
Los Angeles. It is 55 and sunny right now. High of 80 today.
That's nice.
Yeah.
It's not that here, so.
Is where I'll be in the near future, Lord willing. But yeah.
All right.
Also, if there's people that have questions on this, and when you watch and you're tuning in live, you can post your questions, ask us stuff. I can see them and I can ask them. I don't know if I can answer them, but for the 4 people watching on Facebook and 4 people watching on YouTube.
It's probably us on 4 different devices.
Yeah, don't tell them. But no, yeah. What else?
I want to plug myself again. So real estate.
Oh,
so
really?
I made a really cool video, I will say, with your help last week, and I posted it Friday. But no, it was super cool because speaking of just like when we were talking about production, and one of our dear friends, Noah, shout out Noah, talking about creation and sometimes like struggling to create because he doesn't feel like it's perfect. And also I heard a video on, have you heard of Gary V?
Yeah.
Gary Vaynerchuk?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I actually watched a little clip of him this weekend speaking about how perfection is the enemy of production or something like that. And it was really cool because he was saying how a lot of times when you want to make something or produce some sort of media content or something for your business, a lot of times you put it off because like, oh, it's not good enough. It's not perfect. Mm-hmm. It's not right. And I was making a video and I was trying to put it together, and there was some other things I wanted to add. Like I wanted to add like an animation in the beginning. I was like, it's not perfect, but I really, really liked it. So I went ahead and post it. And I got 2 new clients over the weekend because of it.
Attaboy.
And so it was really cool to see, like, yeah, and I had like, it has like 1,400 views on Instagram, almost 1,000 views on Twitter and Facebook.
What?
Yeah, so like overall, I almost had like 5,000 views
That's
on all
crazy.
the platforms. It's mind blowing, and I just had a lot of people reach out and been like, hey, we saw your content, we love what you're doing. And then I had a person go to my website, fill out the form, and they're looking to buy this summer. Another guy just hit me up on Instagram. He's like, hey, I'm looking to buy a house in the next couple months. Like, it's just, to me, it's just being like, wow, some hard, actually pays off to do something. And that's just, it's very, very satisfying to do that. And so my goal, and speaking of accountability, since we work together, is to keep me accountable to keep creating stuff, maybe not as in depth as that video was all the time, but my goal this year is to actually keep that production when it comes to the social media platforms, and especially LinkedIn. I kind of want to focus on that because I think when it comes to like the next up and coming platform, especially for like marketing yourself, I really think LinkedIn might be the future. I think Instagram is going to fade. It's already been fading the past 12 to 24 months. It's progressively gotten worse. Just like the platform itself is not as entertaining as it used to be. And I think most people agree with that. It's not as entertaining as it used to be. And it's been my favorite platform for 8 years. I loved like how Instagram works. I like the creativity you can have with it. Because I just love aesthetics, and so I love the aesthetically pleasing pictures and the profiles on there. I've not liked Facebook as a lot because people just put so much text. But I think like Instagram is kind of dying. Facebook, people, the generational difference is very apparent on Facebook. You have those 35-plus-year-olds on there.
Facebook is what I'm most active on.
Well, yes, you're an old man at heart. But no, so I really think LinkedIn might kind of be the future when it comes to not a social media platform per se, but just more of a marketing play. So I'm really interested to see. I actually have a video conference tomorrow morning before our meeting about kind of advertising myself on LinkedIn. But no, but so my goal this year, kind of going back to it, was be consistently posting about the real estate side of things. Just because last year and kind of all my social media platforms has really just been about me, just like my personal life. And so not transforming it into a business page, because I do not enjoy when pages do that, especially with people I know, but just posting more about what I do. It could be cool to have a picture just in front of a cool house, or because people really enjoy that kind of stuff. I know I maybe do just because I'm a real estate agent, but whether it's, hey, look what we turned this house into. And this kind of goes for our FS Houses page too, which we try to post a bunch of different stuff on there, but just a variety of different content. So
yeah, it's important to keep posting content too, especially from a business perspective, because digital platforms are so saturated right now that one drop of red dye in a small glass of water you can see, but one drop of red dye in a pool you can't even see. So digital platforms right now are like a pool,
and it's very, very hard to stand out.
Yep.
It's I think that the video we created, it really stood out to a lot of people. It's like, oh, well, maybe there's something there, and maybe it's just me, and maybe it's just that one time that I've done this. But is it me, or does video content a lot of times seem to do better?
It does.
People love.
It does.
Short little videos, I feel like.
There's more, I think.
Is there like science behind that?
I'm sure there is. I mean, honestly. But I think there's more personality behind video.
Yeah.
It's more raw. I mean, even if it is polished and clean and put together, like there's faces, there's video, there's audio, like there's moving pieces. And I mean, I think you genuinely get more response from video than just photo.
Yeah. And I think, which is really cool for us. So we did for Circle City Metalworks, we are right now creating a pretty awesome, Brendan is creating a pretty awesome cinematic video experience about that. We got some really cool footage of kind of the creation process. We interviewed Dano. He's a very, very interesting guy, and he loves what he does, but that's what it's all about. And so being able to market for other companies and having them, take us on as a client has been pretty cool, and I'm very, very excited about that production. So I mean, video. I do think there is a special place for video, just because not anybody can take a picture, and it's not very hard, especially now with phones, to take a decent picture. But not everybody can make a video.
I think content's important too.
Yeah.
I mean, you hear this harped on by famous YouTubers and stuff.
Yeah.
But like, if what you're producing, like if people are interested in what you're saying and what like you are promoting,
yeah,
it doesn't matter whether you're using a phone or a
yeah.
$3,000 camera.
Yeah.
People are gonna come there to listen to you and what you have to say. So I think that's important too, focusing on content and not just like production quality, because it can be easy,
True.
especially from a creator's perspective. Like, man, like this new camera looks awesome. I can do so many new things with it.
True.
And then totally lose sight of like, and we were just talking about this recently, like the planning, the storyboarding, the work that goes in behind it. Like we get caught up in like it looking like juicy 4K, like it's gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
That like we forget about like what's the storyline of this video gonna be? What are we trying? What's the message we're trying to portray? And if that lacks, it doesn't matter how good the video looks.
Yeah. No, that's very, very true. So that being said, we are open. That's what Brendan and I are really trying to work on is our own marketing business per se.
Through the Hustle
Indie. So the goal is to basically partner with you guys, and we've said this before. And if you have a house that you need photos of, or your small business needs a commercial for it, or anything in between, we think we love the opportunity to create, and being able to create for not just ourselves is really, really fun too.
Definitely.
That's as much as I love just creating in general, and I like the whole experience, being able to go into a business like even just like Circle City Metalworks. I've had nothing to do with metalworks before. I don't know anything about it, but that's what made it so cool. Was going in and seeing how this guy does his business, being able to create something cool for it is. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah. No, it's really cool, and I'm really excited to be able to start taking on more. I hate to call them clients, but just working with more people.
Yeah.
And like we already got one guy, an investor, that we did a short little video for him for. Like it's just really cool to be able to provide for people.
Yeah.
And do this for
provide
the company.
Something quality
and
for them.
Yeah. So like selfishly, we get to learn and be a part of like a really cool. Like what's going on in their business, and we get again like the metalworks company. I was in awe. We watched a plasma cutter, and it's like, dang, this looks cool on video, but man, like I want to see this.
I agree.
So like selfishly, it's really cool to be a part of that process and kind of like get a behind the curtains view of what goes on in different businesses and different people's lives, but also just the reality that like we get to help provide for this company, like this business, this video that we make for them. It might cost them a few $100s for us to make, but like they're going to be able to reap the benefits of like people years from now down the road watching this video, learning about their company, and like hopefully helping drive more business to their company. Like just recognizing that we're aiding and assisting in that process is just, I love it. I love it.
And it helps. I mean, no, I totally agree. Helping small businesses, especially in Indianapolis, I mean, it's just been such a blessing, But
this whole journey's been a blessing.
Agreed.
It's been really cool to learn about new people. I mean, just kind of take our eyes off ourselves and just listen like we need right
Selfless,
now. Yeah. Speaking of listening and all of the stuff that we've got going on, I do want to mention this because I want to make sure that this is clear, not because we're trying to sales pitch you. Just want to make sure you guys are aware of the different opportunities that you have as potential sponsors. We are open to having sponsorships. Next week, we're going to have our first sponsor, and we're going to have like an example kind of what you guys can look at, what that's going to look like for a week's worth of content. We're doing the full platinum package for them. They're getting the video. They're going to be sponsored on here. They're going to be sponsored on the main episode. They're going to get posts throughout the week. We're just really excited for that. And I wanted to make sure that you guys are aware you can be a sponsor as well. If you head over to our website, thehustleindie.com, there's a tab that says Become a Sponsor. There's a video on there that explains the different packages, the pricing. If you want to learn about pricing, fill out the form or send us an email. I just want to make sure that you guys are aware that that is an option. You guys can become a sponsor, and the reach from this is absolutely insane. I will just go real time and tell you the reach that our Facebook page alone is getting. If I can pull it up. Overview. We are averaging about, 28-day reach is at 21,000 people, which is more than I thought it was.
Whoa.
Yeah, so our post reach for 28 days is 21,000.
So it's funny because the month of, I believe it was December.
I can go back and look. No, I can't.
I think it was the end of November, the beginning of December. The 28-day reach was
We're like, so we
between
went from
10 and 15,000.
It was 10 to 14. It was right around that range. Yeah.
And now you're telling me we're at 21,000?
21,000 people. So again, back to the sponsorship stuff. If you want to get your business out there, if you want people to learn about your company, your business, what you guys do, your product, your service, we don't just want this platform to go to waste. We don't want this audience to not learn about awesome people and awesome businesses. So if you want to sponsor, if you want 21,000 people to see your name, your business, and learn more about what you do, please reach out to us. We want you to get all of this. We don't want to just create this platform and bask in the light. We want to push this light to you. We want to highlight Indianapolis businesses, highlight what they do, and really just grow local businesses and local business owners. So yeah,
absolutely. And
sponsorship is an option.
Yeah, and the last thing I'll add to that is, especially with this kind of morning show specifically, if you're watching it now, and I will mention it at the beginning of the next one, but we really want to curate this, and we'll probably talk about it a little bit this week, probably plan these out a little better, but I want to curate this to actually engage with you guys a little bit more. So whether that's we get questions from you throughout the week that we answer on Monday, or whether you comment on this, live as we're doing it right now. The goal of this show specifically is to not just talk about whatever comes to our mind like we did today and the past episode and kind of reflect on that, which that'll be the main part of it. But we'd love to actually have a conversation with you guys. Whether it's questions about the Hustle Indie, whether it's questions about our personal lives, our future plans, or what we plan on doing with the marketing, or whatever the questions may be about Indianapolis specifically, shoot us in a comment on here, shoot us an email, DM us, whatever it may be, because we really do want to engage with you guys too. We don't want people just to feel like, oh yeah, this is something we just watched and we walk away from. We kind of want to connect with you guys. That's kind of what this whole show's purpose is about with the Hustle Indie show, is to actually be a part of this community. And we want to kind of integrate ourselves into the Indianapolis business community, but also into your guys' lives. What's important to you guys when it comes to your day-to-day? Is your business struggling? Can we get your business name out there, or whatever it may be? But we do want to have that engagement with you guys and just grow with you, as not just grow on our own. So that's kind of all I have to say about that, I guess. But
yeah,
do you have anything else to?
I don't think I have anything else. Just wanted to make sure people are aware of sponsorship. If you know anyone that wants to be a guest on the show, reach out to us. I mean, go to our website. Our contact information's there. We want to highlight awesome people, and I'm really excited to be learning about all these new guests that we're having in the future. And we've got awesome guests lined up this week. We've got. Do we want to let them know now? Yeah, we can let them know.
Yeah, why not?
We have. What was the name of their company?
Well, we have. So we've recorded.
Episode 2.
We've recorded. Yeah, so we've actually recorded already 2 other episodes. So we'll have one coming out this Friday. We'll have every Friday, but we have 2 in advance. We have, let me see here.
Keep Indie is this week.
Keep Indie Indies this week.
So if you guys know, if you're on Instagram, go up on Instagram, look up Keep Indie, and you will see that they are a pretty well-known little business here that highlights local businesses and stuff.
The most well-known Instagram page, like the most popular Indianapolis Instagram page, I think.
One of them. Yeah, if not.
Yeah, if you're not already following them on Instagram, go show them some love. They were really, really cool guys. Their content creation is off the charts. Definitely take a look at them, because it's just, if nothing else, it's very pleasing to look at. So definitely reach out to them.
Yep. So they're coming up this Friday. It was a really good episode, really good conversation to learn about creation and all of that stuff that they're doing here in Indianapolis. But yeah, I think that's all I got this week.
I agree. That's
a good episode. Good morning.
Good start to the week.
Yep. Good way to start the Monday hustling. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you're watching this later on, that's awesome. Be sure to subscribe, follow all of our social media accounts, learn about all of the awesome guests that we're highlighting here. Just follow us on this journey, man. We're highlighting awesome people, learning about awesome people, and just really showing this country or this world where these people have come from and where they're going. So thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for tuning in. We look forward to hustling with you this week. This Friday we got episode 2 coming out, so stay tuned for that.